recognize this face. Yes, this is Regina, the Naturegirl30. She actually came up came up from South Carolina. Well, she's actually been down in Salisbury, North Carolina, for about a day or so. And yesterday we decided, I went on down there to see her, and she said, "Well, how about I come up to Bluefield?" I said, "Okay." Did a few things. Visit my workplace. Then took her up on East River Mountain because she likes natural views, hence the nickname. And then we went to a local place called, you might remember in one of my WrestleMania videos last year that I mentioned along with Prince GMO, called the Railyard. And I might throw up a couple pictures that I took of our food and stuff. And yeah, if you ever come through Bluefield, West Virginia, especially if you come through on a Tuesday through Saturday, I would recommend Friday or Saturday late afternoon to early evening. Go there. I mean, ooh.
We had an awesome waitress.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think her name was Kay. And she was an amazing waitress. So if you ever are in Bluefield, and you definitely check out the Railyard, but also ask for Kay. She's an awesome waitress. And I think she's a bartender too.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. And like I said, at the end, I might throw up just a couple quick pics of what definitely I ate. And I took a picture of her milkshake as well. Something called
I think
Defying Gravity. And may I say, if you're a diabetic, avoid this thing.
You shouldn't be drinking shakes anyway if you're a diabetic.
Yeah, but definitely avoid this thing. Anyway, to the subject that we want to discuss. We want to discuss our impressions of Night 1 of WrestleMania 38 and what we think Night 2 might entail. And Night 1 entailed three candidates for matches from wrestling. Well, two of them.
I would say two. Yeah.
Two, and then there's one honorable mention. But let's start at the beginning. Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs, which, in all honesty, it went about what we both thought. We figured the Usos would retain.
Yeah. I honestly didn't care much for this match. Mainly because the Usos are in the indestructible Samoan Mafia. So there's no way on this planet that they're going to lose their titles. And let's be honest, Shinsuke has been ignored since he got the IC championship. And even after he lost it, he's still been ignored to where he's paired up with Rick Boogs. And Rick has been pretty much put over more than Shinsuke. So I really didn't care. I didn't care much about this match because we kind of knew the outcome from the jump.
Yeah, no way they're letting the Usos lose, especially on Roman Reigns, their cousins. Big weekend. The match against Brock. We'll talk about that later, but the match against Brock Lesnar tonight on WrestleMania, and I will have reactions to all the matches. They'll probably be put out during the week.
I'm probably going to be asleep during half of them because I dozed off on most of them.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I might do some fancy editing. But anyway, let's see, I'm trying to recall another match after. Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin, which I did not care. I mean, I actually like Drew McIntyre, but I did not care about this feud. I did not care about this match. I basically the only time I kind of took a little interest was seeing the possibility of him and Madcap Moss going their own way.
The only thing that was surprising, because I think he put this out there. Baron Corbin put this out there, that his move, the End of Days, was heavily protected. So anybody that is at the end of that move doesn't kick out. I mean, that's a move that's been safe for years. The fact that Drew McIntyre kicked out of the End of Days That shocked me more than anything. And I'm not going to lie, I was exhausted. So that kind of woke me up after I saw that, because now the end of days is no longer protected. And Baron Corbin ended up losing, but now he has a move that he's protected for several years. Is now, I mean, it's not protected anymore. That shocked me more than the match itself. And besides the Claymore, which is a sword I'm going to own one day. But but still, the match itself was kind of lackluster. Madcap Moss, I think in my predictions, I forgot his name because he's that forgettable, even though he has these ridiculous dad jokes. But his dad jokes are better than his jokes. But he really, I thought that they were going to split up. They had been threatening to split them up for a while now, and now they're okay. So the match itself just didn't feel like it had anything to it. It didn't have any stakes. It's just an insult about someone's mom. May she rest in peace. But yeah, I didn't care. I didn't care much about this match. Me neither. And we kind of knew the outcome going in.
Yeah, no way Drew was losing to this guy.
No. Especially after he insults his mom. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been ridiculous.
No.
Okay. Now, I'm trying to recall another. Oh, yeah. Rey Mysterio, along with son Dominic, versus The Miz and Logan Paul. And I will say, this to me was I said there's 2 matches of the night for night 1 of WrestleMania. This one's an honorable mention. I mean, it was a decent match. Logan Paul, who I can't stand, did surprise me. Especially when he put the 3, and it was meant to be a heel move by him when he put the 3 amigos on Rey Mysterio. The sad part is Rey Mysterio put it on, I believe, The Miz earlier in the match. Logan Paul did it better than Rey Mysterio.
Way better.
He did it better.
Way and then when he
did the late Eddie Guerrero shake on the top rope and did the front and did it good and hit it. I was like, what?
He did it way better than Rey. I'm not a fan of Rey. I mean, nothing to take away from Rey Mysterio's legacy. It's just, I feel like he should have been gone a long time ago, because him being there eclipses Dom. Dom needs to find his own identity. And I even said this while we were watching it, that Natalia's going through the same thing. She doesn't have any identity at all. She identifies with her family, and that's why people don't care. But in his case, he's a new guy starting off. He needs to be on his own without his dad there. And his dad is taking the shine away from him. So I was already pissed going in with the tag team seeing Rey on my screen, because his son needs to be on his own. But Logan Paul, people underestimate him because he used to be a YouTuber. I don't know if his YouTube channel is still active anymore after the incident in Japan. So people consider him, oh, he's just a YouTuber. No, the guy's been a boxer for years, and he's been making a lot of bank from those boxing matches. And they have been televised everywhere, all over the world. So don't underestimate him. He's actually good at what he does. So am I surprised that he was going to be good in this match? Not really. I thought he was going to be great. And honestly, he was kind of outshining The Miz, which always happens to him. And The Miz is probably the most underrated wrestler and even underrated sports entertainer there is, because you can create a storyline for The Miz and he can run circles around everybody to where you can still be entertained and engaged in everything he does. But people are constantly underestimating him because of where he came from. Honestly, I would watch Miz and Mrs. far more than I watch Total Bellas or Total Divas, because it's that good. He's very entertaining. You can make a storyline to where it will work, and he can actually make the entire show revolve around him, and it would work, but people still underestimate him. So, but the only thing I could say that was screwy was the finish, because the finish made no sense. Why in the world would you do a skull-crushing finale on Logan Paul when he helped you win? That didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Miz and Logan Paul winning, I wasn't that surprised because Logan Paul was involved. But the ending where Miz turned on Logan Paul, that made no sense. That was just there. That just happened for reasons.
Unless they're planning on making a feud between Logan Paul and The Miz. That's the only thing I can come up with. But to be honest, Logan don't need it. I mean, Logan is always going to be a heel for what he did in Japan. Everyone's going to hate him regardless of anything he does. And there are more Pokemon lovers that hate him now because of what he did with his Pokemon cards, and also with some really rare Game Boys that he melted and made into a frame. People are all mad at him for that. So no matter what he does, he's going to be hated. But to be honest, I don't really want Logan Paul back because The Miz doesn't need anyone to eclipse him. He did need this win. He needs the credibility. But him separating himself from Logan Paul, I think it was a bad move. But that's just me. The match was very entertaining. I don't really consider it to be the match of the night, though. No. But I understand why people would think it's a contender. Or at least maybe an honorable mention. I can understand that. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, now, moving along, and like I said, I've had to really think on these matches. Oh, let's go ahead and jump to this. Bianca Belair challenging Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. And I have to say, both women had good interests. I'm a little biased to Bianca's because I used to be in marching band.
Me too.
So I was a little biased towards hers. And as we went on, with the more we thought about it, was like, these women actually have more in common than people realize. Their first championship in WWE, the SmackDown Women's Championship.
And they both main evented WrestleMania.
Yes, and NXT, they never won the NXT Women's Championship. Neither one when they wrestled for that brand.
No.
Neither one ever won it, but they got over despite that.
It took Becky a long time to find who she was. But Bianca Belair, I remember her from the Mae Young Classic, and she had that Rapunzel weave when she got in there. And honestly, people loved her when she was leaving. She lost, but people loved her to where they were cheering for her to come back. And I think it was Triple H that came out. I could be wrong. But she was going to probably be signed that night. She actually has something about her. Now, I'm not going to lie. I had a lot of hate towards Bianca Belair starting off. I was not a fan. Because mainly, I had legitimate gripes. Her matches were one-sided. It didn't make any sense in NXT. She was booked as a powerhouse when her build is more of a technical wrestler. Not only that, she was way too dominant in all of her matches to where the other opponents had barely any offense. It just felt one-sided for somebody who started off like her, completely new in that brand. But as time went on, I just started noticing that she had more opponents that was better than her, but she worked hard to get to that level. The one thing that impressed me the most, the one match that impressed me the most was her Royal Rumble match. And y'all probably did see the response to that on our channels when I was pretty much cheering and Prince was hating. So, I mean, you guys pretty much know that she won me over that night for the Royal Rumble. But she even won me over more when she faced Sasha. But the thing is, for Becky Lynch and for Bianca Belair, you have to work well with her. Like, with Becky Lynch, she's a professional to where she can adjust to anything that's wrong. Any type of bot, she can make an adjustment to make it look like it's not a bot. She can make things work. But with her fighting style is way different than a lot of people. She's a straight up brawler. She's more of a brawler than anything else. Probably bare knuckles. And she started trying to do technical, but she stopped. She's more of a brawler. While Bianca is more technical now than a powerhouse. She doesn't do those powerhouse moves that much anymore, which makes me happy. But it just worked. Not only that, the feud building up to it worked. But then it was kind of like this because of Liv Morgan kind of being inserted into the mix. And then you have Bianca reinserted in there. And in my opinion, I didn't want this match to happen because it already happened before. So what are you going to do to make it different? And what are you going to do to make me actually care? Bianca makes you care without even trying. It's just her overall personality. She makes you care. And Becky, God bless her, she tries. She tries so hard to be a heel, and she just sucks at it because she has a likable personality to where people are going to love her anyway. And by the way, if anybody knows what she cosplayed as, because myself, Laurel, and Prince have been trying to figure it out last night. So if you guys know, please leave in the comments, because I really want to know what she cosplayed as. But the match itself definitely was one of the best, actually the best women's match of the night.
Yeah, and it reminded me a lot of Rick Steamboat, Randy Savage. Not so much the crisp and clean
It was the
moves.
pacing.
It was the pacing.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Steamboat and Savage from WrestleMania 3. Yes, I was alive to see that match. So, in real time.
I was too young for all that. But with Steamboat, his matches were always 5-star. Always 5-star, top-notch, well-paced, very quick matches. And Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch could keep up with each other. And that's the one issue that I even talk about AEW, to where that with the women's division, they lack chemistry. You can tell. They're getting better. They are getting better. But when it comes to WWE, you have more women in the ring with chemistry than in any other wrestling company I've seen so far. You can probably argue maybe Impact. But at this point, that match definitely is the women's match of the night. And that's sad, because I guess we're going to talk about Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. One other thing I will say on Bianca won. Yay. But I will say this. When they were introduced, the crowd definitely was behind Bianca Belair. But when they announced Becky Lynch, and this tells me right here, that SummerSlam thing was a mistake.
Yeah.
It hurt Bianca Belair. Of course, I heard it from a lot of black folks that commented on one of my videos a lot about it hurt Bianca Belair. Man, they pushing these white girls and stuff. Look, first of all, Becky Lynch has earned everything she's got. Okay, I was upset about what he did Bianca, but that angle didn't do Becky Lynch.
It didn't do either one of them justice.
It didn't do either one any favors. And quite honestly, when they announced Becky Lynch's name last night for WrestleMania, the crowd was 50-50 concerning her. You had some that were booing the heck out of her, but there was still a lot of people that cheered her. Although the favorite was definitely Bianca Belair, because overwhelmingly they cheered her.
Probably that Becky Lynch is channeling her inner hot mama. Because, I mean, with every ring attire she wears, you got those butt cheeks in your face. And I'm like, she is channeling her inner hot mama. You go, girl. You go. I can't hate on that. But I think the SummerSlam squash, and it was a squash. I don't care what anybody says. It was a squash.
It was.
And it was wrong. Why? Because they advertised Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair months in advance. And people who bought the tickets was expecting that, while Sasha wasn't even there. So they screwed the people who bought. And I've actually been to these wrestling events, the Big Four pay-per-views. They are expensive. You are shelling out thousands of dollars for the best seats. So let's just say you spend $3,000 on a package to go there and see this event. Your money's gone. Mainly because the person that you thought was going to be there wasn't. And when they say cards subject to change, guess what? It's on the back of the ticket. So if you don't read it, you're screwed. But at the end of the day, they kind of false advertised who was going to be there. And then all of a sudden, you know the deal. Carmella came out. People were confused. Then here comes Becky. We thought we were going to have a match to replace what they said they were going to do. And then they end up screwing us out on that. So it messed them both up because of how it was marketed. It wasn't even about booking. It was about how it was marketed. If it was marketed like that, Becky Lynch was coming out and it was going to be a squash, that's different. They lied. Flat out. Lied. So if the marketing wasn't like the way it was, it wouldn't have been that bad. But they screwed everybody over by false advertising who was going to be there. So it messed them both up. And it's not just Bianca. It messed up Becky. And she can't even be the man anymore. And we all know why.
Yeah. Yeah, your guy, Ric Flair, pretty much said, you can't call yourself that, which I still have my opinions on that. I mean, that woman has Becky, I won't say it here because it's too X-rated, but he has Becky Lynch on the brain so hard at times. Sometimes he be having her name in his mouth on his podcast. And yes, Ric Flair does have a podcast. On his podcast for reasons. And I'm like, dude. Like I said, I got my opinions, but I won't go into them here.
It's Flair. It's Flair. He's been like that for years. But I guess what was the next match after that? The women's match?
No, actually, the next match was Seth Rollins and the mystery opponent.
We actually did have a bet. For those that did not, but this is probably going to be coming out maybe before the actual reactions for the first night. We made a bet to where whoever gets the most wins for both nights, one of them has to buy either a custom-made belt or a belt from whatever website they want to get for whoever wins. Like the loser would have to buy a belt. So the bonus one was Seth's match and who the opponent was going to be. Because there were rumors that it was going to be Shane McMahon, which I would have been pissed if it was him. And then everyone pretty much knew that Cody signed with WWE. It was just a matter of when he was going to be there. We did not know for sure who his opponent was going to be. I think, who did you pick? Who did you pick? No, you picked Veer Mahan, right?
Yeah, because they've been advertising him forever.
Yeah. He picked Veer Mahan, I picked Cody Rhodes. And we all know who came out. Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, well, aside from losing that bet, the match itself was good. It went a little longer than it should have. It felt more like an AEW match than a WWE match, to be honest.
Well, not so much because AEW would have blood.
True. Well, it felt like AEW minus the blood.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Daniel Bryan days. How we just saw like straight up technical wrestling and grappling.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what we saw here. Although he did do a little tribute to his papa, Dusty. Of course, he was in Texas.
Yeah.
So, because, Cody Rhodes was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. But, as we know, the late Dusty Rhodes was a big name in Texas. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he did. Although he did his impression of the flip, flop, fly with the bionic elbow combination, which everyone knows. Although, to be honest, Cody does a good, okay impression. I think his brother does it better, actually.
To be honest with you, I like Cody's.
You like Cody's?
I like Cody's a lot better than Dustin's.
I think Dustin does it better. But be that as it may, Cody picked up the win, which even after it came, I said, well, Cody's winning. I can't see Seth going over here.
But we're going to put this out there because if you've seen the predictions, not the predictions, if you see the reactions, we're pretty much in an argument with one of our fellow Club Atlantis members. Pretty much about Cody Rhodes being a traitor, all this other stuff. And I even done a video on it. We've talked about this. Mm-hmm. This is something that has been going on for decades. It's nothing new. It's called business. You're going to have wrestlers go from one brand to another. Yeah, some of them are going to burn their bridges, but eventually they come back depending on their name. The fact that Cody Rhodes made so much news for leaving AEW after he created the thing, they would be idiots not to pick him up. And it's business. He has a daughter now. He has a wife. He has responsibilities. He has to look out for his family. Mm-hmm. It is business at the end of the day. He is not a traitor. He's a businessman. That's what he has to do. Everyone has done it. And we have prime examples. Hulk Hogan is the biggest one. He's the biggest example. How many companies he left and abandoned? What was it? He went from WWF at the time to WCW. And then,
I can go back further with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
AWA. And then to WWF. Because I'll make it quick as possible. In AWA, he was scheduled for more matches with then AWA champion, the late Nick Bockwinkel, but he was also having problems with Vern Gagne, the owner of the AWA at the time. Wanted to basically stiff him and get a hold of, because Hogan had a deal prior to him even wrestling for the AWA with New Japan Pro Wrestling at the time. And so he stiffed him out of the AWA title when he was actually supposed to win it against Bockwinkel. So, long story short, Vince McMahon came with him with a deal, and basically he bailed on the AWA, without telling Vern.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, people burn bridges and stuff all the time,
and they eventually come back because of the name.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Bret Hart did the same thing. And we can't forget Medusa or Alundra Blaze, who ended up leaving WWE, went to WCW, and threw the WWF Women's Championship in the garbage.
Yep.
And she ended up coming back to be in the Hall of Fame.
Another example, Brock Lesnar's wife, Sable left WWE on bad terms.
Because I think it was of a harassment suit or something like that.
Yeah, on bad terms. But ended up coming back in 2004. 2003, 2004, somewhere in there. Same thing with her own husband, Brock. Brock, he left on shaky grounds in 2004.
He left on horrible terms. I mean, he had a match with Goldberg that none of them gave like zero fucks about. And it was probably one of the worst matches in WrestleMania history. Everyone hates that match. I understand, because nobody cared. And guess what? He's back and bigger than ever. And let's be honest, Happy Brock is way scarier than Mean Brock.
Yeah, in some ways he is. As a happy, insane farmer Brock.
Pretty much, like insane farm boy Brock. But every wrestler has done this. It's not even about being a traitor or a loyalist or whatever. It's a business at the end of the day, people. Let it go. Find something else to argue about. And I'm moving on from there.
Yeah. Now to the other women's match of the night, the SmackDown Women's Championship. Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. I will say this. It was an okay match. But honestly, if you want to, for those of you that know what I'm talking about, Survivor Series, when Ronda Rousey was here the first time, and she went up against Charlotte Flair at a Survivor Series, I believe it was in 2018. Go back and watch that match. That match was way better than this one. This one didn't suck, but at the same time, it was not that good. And of course, the build-up to the match was so boring. I mean, regardless of what one of our members of Club Atlanta says, Charlotte Flair, she really tried. She really tried to make interest in it. Ronda Rousey has never been a good mic worker at any point in her athletic career. That includes even when she was an MMA fighter. I mean, she talked in that annoying Valley Girl voice and tried to, inflect anger and stuff, and she just came off so wooden. I mean, the woman that's talking beside me comes with more personality than Ronda Rousey. But then again, watching paint dry is more personality than Ronda Rousey. And, I've never been a fan of hers. I mean, I respect the athleticism. And as far as her, she's this ultimate enemy. I'm like, the girl has no hands. She has no hands. She still has no hands. Her Shane McMahon's punches look more real than Ronda Rousey's. I'm sorry. Now, I will say this. Now, would I wrestle the girl? No. And I'm probably twice her size. Would I wrestle her? Hell no.
I think you're taller than her too.
Yeah. Would I wrestle her? Oh, hell no. No.
No, it's because I think both of us talked about this last night. When it came to Shayna Baszler as well as Ronda Rousey, when they get you on the ground, you're done. They're grapplers. When they get you on the ground, they are locked in and you're not going nowhere. You better tap out because it's going to hurt. Ronda Rousey is good at what she does. She's a good MMA fighter. But here's the thing. She don't look like she wants to be there. She doesn't look like she wants to continue on because she's supposed to be a face, but she had a heel promo. She doesn't bring any type of flavor to the table anymore. And I think she's done. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you did all this to bring her back. The thing is, did they really? Because she was under contract still. But we all know that WWE has been kind of very cavalier when it comes to contracts. And they have been forgetting how long people have on their contract. And Ronda Rousey was never informed on how long she had left on her contract. So she's probably done now for all we know. And I don't think she wants to come back. She's a mom now. She probably just wants to be a mom. Let her. Charlotte, let her handle her business. Because I will say this about Charlotte. She has the most personality as a heel queen I've ever seen in my life. And honestly, she's kind of surpassed her dad when it comes to a personality of a character. Because even though Ric Flair was over the top, flashy, flamboyant, jet styling, profiling, all that, and women chasing, all that, the fact is, Charlotte Flair never had to try too hard to be something she's not. She's always come off as regal. And the fact that was in that ring with Ronda Rousey, it showed that she was superior to her. Even though Ronda Rousey is an MMA fighter, Charlotte Flair was superior to her. So the match itself was not great. Plus, we're going by what happened with Becky. Like, Becky and Bianca was before this. So you're already out of gas coming into this match. And I think that's what happened with the crowd. The crowd was dead.
Yes. And it didn't help that Seth and Cody had...
Oh, Seth and Cody drained every ounce of emotion out of everybody.
Yeah, those two matches, Bianca and Becky and Seth and Cody, they came back to back.
Yeah.
So Charlotte and Ronda, which already did not have much interest going in to begin with, they were screwed.
No.
They were screwed.
But even though the match didn't surpass that, it wasn't awful.
No.
But it was not match of the night. And that's a shame because the SmackDown Women's title has been treated like an ignored child. I mean, the fact that that belt was created after the women's title was I guess, back into existence at WrestleMania 32, which I was there, and I'm still salty that I didn't have a chance to see it live. But anyway, I'm beyond that. But the thing is, when it came to the original women's championship that got brought back, and it was gorgeous, I might add, that they ended up having to find a title. They had to have a title for SmackDown. So they never really gave the SmackDown women's title the respect it deserved. But Charlotte made it into something. So even though Ronda didn't win, in my humble opinion, Charlotte is going to make that belt something because it needs it. That belt's being ignored. And the Raw Women's Championship is getting more press than the SmackDown Women's Championship. So the fact that Ronda lost, I'm fine. But it's a shame that Charlotte's matches have kind of dropped in quality as time went on.
Yeah, and considering Charlotte Flair, and I have heard she did say this publicly, not just in character, originally she wanted Sasha Banks anyway. And most fans actually would have preferred, if Ronda Rousey had to come back, they would have preferred her against Becky Lynch.
Because it makes sense because of that botched pin. That botched pin they would never bring up ever again. And it made more sense for her to go after Becky. But for some reason, they had to do Bianca Belair, even though it wasn't bad. Storyline-wise.
Yeah, even though it ended up being arguably the match of the night. Well, depending on what you like. It's between that and Cody and Seth.
Yeah, but it didn't make any sense storyline-wise to actually have Bianca there. She had her chance. She lost twice. Clean. It doesn't make any sense for her to have a title shot.
I don't know about clean. Because after the SummerSlam thing, she fought Becky twice after that. The first time, Bianca Belair won by disqualification. And then the second one was over on Raw. Because remember, at the time when Bianca won by disqualification, they were both on SmackDown. And she was the SmackDown champion.
Well, the fact that she lost, it wasn't clean. I know the SummerSlam was clean. Even though it was screwy, in my opinion. But even though she did not lose clean, she lost multiple times to Becky. She doesn't really have a shot. Just like with Liv Morgan, it doesn't make any sense for her to have a shot against Becky again because she lost clean to Becky.
Yeah, but it also proves how great the Four Horsewomen are. We'll be moving on to the final segment in a second. But it grows how great the Four Horsewomen are when they bring out pretty much the best in everybody. I don't care if you're talking about Bayley. I don't care if you're talking about Charlotte, Sasha Banks.
Even though we had no Bayley.
Or Becky Lynch. They seem to bring out the best in nearly everyone they face, whether it's Asuka, whether it's Bianca Belair, which I think all of them the vibe I get, all of them like Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
They all like working with her.
Bianca Belair is definitely the future of the division because we know, this is just my opinion, I think that Sasha has a few years because her star power is getting bigger. And if she stays there for too long, she's going to miss a lot of opportunities. So I don't see her there for that long. I can see Becky Lynch trying to branch out because she's going back into acting and trying to get into different series and movies and stuff. Charlotte's big when it comes to athleticism because Fox wants her and any sports company wants her to represent them. ESPN and Fox want her. So they all have places to go. I don't see them around for that long. I see a few more years. And then their star power is big enough to where they go on their own. So Bianca is definitely a main star. And she will represent the company. Now that she's champion, I think she's going to be a good one. And I think she's the Raw Women's Champion now. Because she won SmackDown before. So honestly, I think it's going to be fine. I think division will be fine.
Yeah, like I said, they brought up Best in Asuka, Bianca.
If we can find Asuka.
And gotta give credit where it's due. I wasn't that big on Liv Morgan being single, but they brought out the best. Becky Lynch specifically brought out the best in her.
And people kept saying that match was sloppy. I'm like, I don't know what you were watching.
That was
the most well-polished match I've ever seen.
That was the best match I've ever seen Liv Morgan in her
entire career. But I guess we need to move on to the next one.
Yeah, so final segment was the KO show.
Oh,
Kevin Owens challenging Stone Cold Steve Austin. Pretty much ended up challenging to a no-holds-barred fight. And the first thing I noticed, when Austin did come out, I was like, this is sad. This man is 57, damn near 60. He is more over than most wrestlers on the active roster right now. He ain't even getting in the ring yet. He just walked out the stage and the people are just going nuts.
At the defense of that, they were in Dallas.
True.
They were in Dallas.
I don't think it would have mattered though.
Because Stone Cold was in he was in Dallas at 32. Because he was there at 32 and they were hype about that.
True.
He was in his home state. So I'm not shocked when it comes to that. Plus he's a legend. The Attitude Era is pretty much what made WWF their bank. Because it was the most popular era there was and people remember it for the feud that he had with McMahon.
Yeah, but I'll be honest though. Yeah, it was double because it was in Dallas, Texas, and Stone Cold's from Texas. But I don't think it would have mattered where in this United States
it should have been on Raw.
Yeah, no, I
or
agree.
SmackDown.
I agree, but I don't think it would have mattered where it was. He would have got that kind of reaction regardless.
I'm gonna be honest. I fell asleep at this match, and I don't think any amount of editing is gonna take that out. Because you can probably see me doze off like 4 times. It was boring. I'm sorry. I love Stone Cold. I do, but KO challenging him to a match for the KO show, and that's main eventing. That's main eventing, y'all. We don't even have an IC championship match. We don't even have a US championship match.
Held by Finn Balor and held by Ricochet and Finn Balor respectively.
And they weren't there.
Ricochet really got crapped on. Finn Balor, arguably, they said they started WrestleMania earlier on this past SmackDown. Finn Balor was at least in the Andre the Giant Fatal Role, which wasn't
even there either.
Yeah, but at least he got something. Ricochet didn't get jack shit.
I'm
he
sorry.
got crapped on, man.
I'm sorry. You have the most prestigious, and yes, I'm a bit biased towards the Workhorse belt because the IC Championship is one of my favorite titles. I even have a replica of one. I love that title because of what it represented as well as the legacy behind it. The US title has its own legacy too. But the fact that you have these 2 prestigious belts and they're not even on the card and you got something that could be on Raw as the main event. Because why? Stone Cold? Stone Cold is damn near 60. You're going to have him out there wrestling when he had a broken freaking neck and busted up knees and backs? But at least he can take a good bump. I can give him that.
But gosh, I fell asleep 4 times.
Yeah.
I fell asleep watching the replay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
No.
for what it was okay. I will. Yeah, I mean, at best, it should have been 10 minutes. At most, it should have been 10 minutes.
It didn't even feel like 10. It felt like forever.
Yeah, I agree.
Tired.
I agree. It went on too long.
The whole damn pay-per-view was 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
6 hours long,
Yeah,
and I was at 32. And 32, we were there for me and my homeboy Daryl. We were there for 10. We were there for 10 hours. Y'all got the shortcut. So you can imagine people who are actually at the event and how long it is taking for this match to be done. Good grief. It was boring. But, I mean, for what it is, the fact that it's more of a nostalgia act. Mm-hmm. I'll give it that. Stone Cold is Stone Cold. And the fact he came out there with a 4-wheeler, hey, I got no beef with that. 4-wheelers are fun, so I got no beef with that. But I will not want to watch this match over and over again. I'll be fine with it happening once.
No. And then of course Austin won, which we expected, but then but then the part that was kind of stupid but kind of funny, he invites Byron Saxton into the ring for a beer, and I thought to myself, oh, this poor silly Negro. I'm like, don't you know you about to get stunned, Byron? Don't you know no one likes you? Don't you know no one likes you enough to even try to warn you off?
Well, I mean, I'm probably the only person that likes Byron Saxton, but because he has some really unique suits. But when he started shaking his beard, I think he knew what was coming.
Yeah,
he got stunned.
Yeah, he got stunned. But overall, night one was not bad. But replay value wise, the only matches I would tell you to go back and look at is Bianca and Becky, Seth and Cody, and honorable mention to the Mysterios versus Logan Paul and The Miz. That was actually an entertaining match.
If I had to give it a rating, I would probably like how many stars out of 5? I would probably give it about maybe 3.5 stars out of 5, because it's not just the matches itself. The length was way too long. Most of these matches went on way too long to where it could have been cut short. Of course, you had the women's, the Raw Women's match being match of the night. Logan Paul having an honorable mention, which was very surprising. But all the other matches didn't have much build, and you didn't really care much for it. So, yeah, I have to give it 3.5 stars out of 5.
Okay, so really quickly, I'm gonna try to recall them best I can. I've been saying that a lot because really, if I was not watching it with her and the other members,
forgettable.
Yes, if I was not watching it with her and I'm not watching it with the other members of Club Atlantis, I would not care about this WrestleMania. I probably wouldn't even be watching it until like Monday after the whole thing is played, and then I could just go forward and look at what I want to look at. But anyway, Edge versus AJ Styles.
Edge versus AJ Styles, in my opinion, is going to be match of the night, because it is a dream match that everybody's wanted to see. I wanted to see it for so long, but I feel like that with Edge coming back, I think they waited too long to do it. But I'm going to be honest, I really don't think that AJ is going to win this. I think it's going to be an amazing match, but we all know who's going to go over.
Yeah, I'm the same. AJ should win, but it's probably going to be Edge.
Yeah.
It's going to be Edge.
It's going to hands down be Edge.
Because they just turned him heel, and how stupid would that look? You just turned this guy newly heel, and you have him lose to AJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would look dumb.
It's not going to make much sense if that happens.
Johnny Knoxville versus, I almost said Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn.
I love Jackass. I've loved Jackass since its inception. I've watched all the movies except for the recent one. Johnny Knoxville knows how to take a bump better than anybody. So I think he's going to be fine. I mean, he let a bull hit him like square in the nuts. So he's fine. The guy's okay. He's going to be fine. But the thing is,
Sami Zayn needs to win this. He needs to.
He's thinking about the bull to the nuts.
No. That's why I never liked Jackass. They be just doing this stuff just
it's
because.
It's funny as hell, though. It's really funny.
Bull to the ball. No. I don't even like to get lightly patted on the balls, let alone kick, punched. I know my saying is ooh the nuts, but that no, I ain't taking no bull to the nuts, no.
At least he still got it. So
ooh,
I mean,
can that man even screw properly, let alone
he
recreate?
Has kids.
How?
He has kids.
How?
However you have kids, the natural way. he has children and a wife.
That man should not have functional balls after that. But seriously, Sami Zayn by rights should kick the crap out of this dude. But Johnny Knoxville, to me, is probably going to win. Even though Sami Zayn should kick the crap. It should be one haluva kick, done. It shouldn't even be a 5-minute match at all.
He needs to win this. Like, Sami needs to win this. Sami has been a clown and a buffoon since he went to the main roster. And I'm sorry, the whole storyline he had with Bobby Lashley ruined both of them with the sister angle. But we ain't getting into that. That was creepy enough.
Yeah.
But Sami needs to win. I gotta go for Sami. I gotta go for Sami here. I'm going to regret it.
I want Sami to win, but I got a feeling it's going to be Knoxville.
I'm going to regret it, but I'm going for Sami.
I got a feeling it's going to be Knoxville. But now the Raw triple threat. The champions, RK Bro versus the Alpha Academy versus the Street Profits. Now, she's no fan of the Street Profits.
They're clowns! They're buffoons. They are absolute buffoons. They have buffoonery coming off of their foreheads, their mouths, every little crevice. They are idiots. And yes, Montez Ford is the only breakout star of that crew. We know Angelo Dawkins. He has the personality of an athlete trying to read a teleprompter.
Ooh.
The guy does not have much of a personality. I mean, he just, I'm sorry, he's getting better. I will say this, it's getting better, but how long did it take? A few years? Yeah. But either or, I can't stand the Street Profits. I can't stand, we want the smoke. And we all know what the red Solo cups mean, y'all. So if you give your kid a red Solo cup and say that, you're an idiot. You need to find out what that means. But regardless, the Street Profits have been behaving as heels as of late. And they're supposed to be baby faces. So the Alpha Academy, for some strange reason, got taken out of a match they were supposed to be in. So something tells me they're going to get screwed again. And even though Chad Gable has been the best he's ever been since he dropped that Shorty G gimmick. And let's be honest, Otis, he's gotten better too. Even though they randomly turned him into a heel, got rid of his tag partner, and also got rid of Mandy, which I think was the best storyline ever. And I shipped them really hard. But anyway, the fact is, they have both kind of shined bright as heels. But I think they're going to get ignored. And I think that it's a possibility that the Street Profits are going to win. They need to do something with these titles. Because every time the Street Profits had a belt around their waist, they did nothing with it. It was just a belt buckle. They did nothing with it. They were useless with it.
I'm going to personally go with RK Bro retaining. Just because they're the most over thing they got.
They are, but it all depends on if Randy Orton is done with being on the tag team. Because Randy Orton, I wouldn't be shocked if he's not that far off from his final run. Like, he probably has a few more years before he has a final run. And the fact that they lost the belts in the first place, I don't see them winning it again.
Yeah.
I don't.
Now, this next one I'm going to go through real quick. For the Women's Tag Team Championships.
Oh, gosh.
Carmella and Queen Selena defend against Naomi and Sasha Banks versus Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler and Natalya. Now, let me say this right now. I am pulling for Sasha Banks and Naomi, mainly because of Naomi. Nice chocolate. But anyway, I pull mainly because of Naomi. But I'll be honest, I'm not making excuses. But if Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley won, I would be okay with that. The other two teams, hell no. Hell no.
Queen Zelina and Carmella has done nothing with their championships.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't make it meaningful. They never tried. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler made it more memorable than those two.
Ooh.
And I don't even like Nia, but she ain't even there no more, so it don't matter. But Shayna Baszler, I feel bad for her because she's better off being a single star. But she's stuck with Natalya because Natalya, she has to have her face on screen anyway, even though her butt needs to retire. And just let other people get in front of her because she's had her run, her forgettable run, but she don't need to be there. She never needed to be there. And Shayna, she's just being held back by Natalya's old... Never mind, I ain't going to get into her right now. But my vote will always be Sasha. Sasha's a star.
Yeah.
Naomi's Sasha's a bigger star. Naomi is a star, in my opinion. And honestly, yeah, I am a bit salty about not having a glow belt, but I'm gonna leave that alone. But I'm still gonna have them win. I still think they're gonna win.
So we're both going with Sasha and Naomi.
Yeah.
Like I said, the only team I would be okay with winning, I would be okay, even though I'm not pulling for them. I would be okay if Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan won.
I just don't think Rhea Ripley needs to be on a tag team
anymore. Yeah. You're not the only one that said that.
She don't.
Plenty of people have said she needs to be in singles.
She don't. She should have went for the championship by now. She really should have.
Yeah, several people have said that, actually.
The fact that she beat Shayna Baszler in NXT shows that she can do it. She can do it.
Yeah.
Just like how Liv can.
So yeah, why are even one of them in a tag team? But like I said, they're the only team of the three. If it's not Sasha and Naomi, they're the only ones I would be okay with winning the belt.
And we already know where this match is going to be placed. It's going to be the bathroom break section.
Yeah, and finally, I mean, there's probably a match or two I'm forgetting, but I'm just jumping to the main event. The winner take all, the biggest match in WrestleMania history. Bigger than Hogan and Andre, which I have an opinion on in a second. Brock Lesnar, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, versus the Tribal Chief, acknowledge me, Roman Reigns, with the Universal title, both titles on the line, winner take all. To which I could care less, honestly, because these guys have fought umpteen times. And as for the Hogan-Andre reference, y'all know how I feel about Hulk Hogan. Hogan can kiss my ass after I've been on the toilet. But, let me say this. I might disrespect Hulk Hogan, the person behind the character of Hulk Hogan. I will never diss that man's career.
No.
Now, bigger than Hogan Andre, now I have no doubt Brock and Roman will be a better match than Hogan Andre. But bigger than Hogan Andre? No. There ain't no. At least in terms of WrestleMania, there was no match bigger than Hogan. There still hasn't. There's been a couple that could challenge, like Rock Austin 2, maybe Hogan Rock, maybe Cena Rock, the first one. I mean, maybe those three, but Roman versus Brock, no, it ain't big. Now, will it be a better quality match? Yes. But in terms of storytelling, build, interest, and drawing people to the arena, no, there was nothing bigger than Hogan Andre.
Not bigger than Hogan Andre, no. But probably bigger than, I can probably say maybe Cena Randy, the Cena Randy feud. I can probably say the Cena Triple H feud. Not Cena Triple H. The Randy Triple H feud. You can probably say the Cena Rock #1, the first one. The 28. You can probably say that. But no. But with this one, let's be honest. We've seen this over 1,000 times. It can't really make it special. It's like taking a present that you've already gotten and putting it in different type of paper. Now, I know that Roman Reigns has a better gimmick, the fact that he has a tribal chief gimmick, but I've always stated this issue with Ervin, and I've also stated this with the Club Atlantis crew. My biggest issue with Roman Reigns is that he does too much shit talking in the ring, and it compromises everything that the tribal chief's supposed to be. If you call yourself a tribal chief, you don't have to declare yourself as a tribal chief. You already acknowledge that person as a tribal chief. You don't have to beg for acknowledgement. And I know that there was he's supposed to be a cowardly heel. He's not supposed to be, but now he's a chicken shit heel after what happened at what SmackDown when he got chased by a forklift. Now he's a chicken shit heel after all that work they did on him. But the thing is, when he's in the ring, he spends half his time shit talking. I've already made an analogy about that, and I want to keep it clean, so I'm not gonna really make that analogy here about Roman Reigns. But I will say that I don't think that Roman can beat Brock. He was never meant to. Brock will annihilate him. Brock will eat him for breakfast because he can. But we all know how well protected Roman is. Even though the match's going to pretty much be 10% of him talking shit in the middle of the ring, we know he's going to win. Even though I think it should be Brock. But the one that's going to win the most is not Brock or Roman. It's the belt. We're unifying those belts. The Universal Championship will be no more after tonight. And neither will the WWE Championship. We're going to have a brand new championship. What they're going to call it, I have no idea. They might still call it the Universal Championship. They might call it the Undisputed Championship. I don't know. Or the Undisputed Universal Championship. But either or, we're having one belt, one champion to dominate all. For the first time ever in a long time. And we will win. All of us will win. The belt will win. I don't care about who's fighting for it. But all I can say is we're going to win. We're going to have a brand new belt and a brand new champion that will dominate all.
Yeah, I'm going with Roman Reigns too because Brock has already beaten this guy several times. What's the point of Brock winning both belts at this point? There really isn't. Roman Reigns is going over on this one. But that's all I'm going to. That's all our reactions. God, I can't speak.
Predictions.
I can't speak. Predictions on night 2 of WrestleMania 38, as well as what we thought of night 1 of WrestleMania 38. So now I'm going to leave you with the pictures of that little restaurant, bar and grill that I was talking about when I opened this video. So hopefully you'll check out our actual reactions when we watched it live. And I'm going to have, some of them. I probably won't do every match, but I'm going to have some of them on my channel. So that's all I got to say. I'm out.